Welcome back, everybody, to the Raider Roster Report. This is Raider Sparks coming at you with another video today. Wanted to talk about what General Manager John Spytek could do to start preparing us for the 2026 season. Even now, even before we know our draft selection, our coaching staff for next year, which players we might have on the team, might not have on the team. There's one particular thing he can do now, and we've done it in the past. So we've taken players off of practice squads late in the season, and they've become contributors on our team. So a good example of that is Jonah Lalu. You know, we got him last year. Or 2 years ago at the end of the season, and he's been kind of a mainstay for us. We also did with Thomas Harper as well, and for some reason this coaching staff thought Chris Smith was better than Thomas Harper, but that's a different story. So I just want to give you some names of some guys I think we should target out there to kind of help our squad, particularly because we have 33 players on the roster signed for 2026, and of those players, you know, there's several that probably wouldn't even be here anyways. So it's pretty thin to go in the off season. I think if we really want to turn this ship around, we got to build a culture here and get some players in. And so I picked out some young players, rookies basically, or maybe one or two 2-year players. But nonetheless, we just did it with Broderick Martin. And so we can bring these guys in cheap, doesn't affect the salary cap, doesn't hurt the draft, doesn't hurt free agency. And if you do just land on one of them, you're ahead of the game in free agency and in the draft. So we need all the talent we can get, turn over every rock we can get. And hopefully Spytek, we have 2 weeks left. We can get them into camp, and then we have them all winter long, you know, and we can develop that culture and get it going. So right now, like I said, there's only 33 players signed for next year. And again, some things might happen. You know, if we traded Max or traded Colton, traded Tyree Wilson, if we cut or trade, we'll cut Geno Smith and Alex Kappa. That gets us down even lower. So it's interesting too, because we have 167 million on the cap right now. If they did those 5 moves that I just mentioned, we'd be at 230 million in cap space. What an attractive spot for a coach to come, or a new coaching staff to bring in. If you said, hey, we have the #1 pick plus multiple first-round picks if you did trade Max and Colton. And then we had still on top of that had $230 million in cap space, plus however much it goes up. I mean, talk about a clean slate with some good young talent. That would be phenomenal. But all of those things are going to happen in the future. I think there's some interesting things. We've got, what do we have? 17, 18, 19 players, or 17 players that are on the team now that are just on 1-year deals. And so it'd be interesting to see who we bring back. For me, it'd be probably prioritize Eric Stokes, maybe Thomas Booker. The only drawback I have with him, we have all the same defensive tackles. So we've got a lot of the same type of guy. Butler, Lalu, Hemingway, they're all kind of the same type of deal. We need some more size up there. But Thomas Booker's a good player too, so you want to try to keep your good players and fit them in however you can. So that would be interesting. And then maybe Ian Thomas, sort of that 3rd, 4th string tight end. But other than that, I'm not sure we bring any of these guys back. Jamal Adams, maybe, if Pete Carroll's still here. Other than that, I think we pretty much have a clean slate. So we've got a lot of room on this roster. Me personally, I would be cutting all of these players and bringing in all these new guys. But I know that's something that no general manager would ever do. And I don't know if it's frowned upon in the National Football League for general managers to go poach a bunch of guys off of practice squads, but at least give us a few, Spytek. I mean, there's talent out there that we can definitely get. So just wanted to kind of get into that a little bit about what we can do to improve. My first target is, and again, this would be if they're not protected, because, you know, each team with the rules, they can protect 4 players on their practice squad. But today that gets submitted on Tuesday. So hopefully these guys aren't protected. We can go out and get them. And like I said, we've got plenty of guys we can cut. You know, I'm not saying I have 16 names here that I think we should go get. I'm not saying we're going to cut 16 players, but even a couple, right? Just give me a couple of these guys. I'll be happy. It'll be a Christmas present, early Christmas present for us Raider fans to get some new talent out here and really bring these guys in, not so much for this year, but for the off season to build this culture up. And like I said, if even one of them hits, you're ahead of the game. But it costs you nothing. And, you know, there's no draft pick, there's no salary cap issue, nothing. So first one, Sebastian Valdez. He's a defensive tackle for 49ers. He got the nickname Hulk in the preseason. He's strong, man. He's built like our D tackles, like right at that 300-pound mark. We don't have the big dudes up front, even though we just signed Project Martin, and our rookie's supposed to be that as well, but Pegues, but he's got to get stronger, that's all, if he wants to be playing that team position like that. But if we're going to go that route, this guy's a stud. He's super strong, yeah, athletic. He moves up and down the line of scrimmage, had a great preseason. He's 6'4", 301. And if we do bring the Robert Saleh in as our coach, then we already got one of his guys. So that'd be my first choice. Second choice is Fadil Diggs. He's an edge rusher or outside linebacker or off-ball linebacker, edge rusher for the Saints. This is only, I tried to get all the really targeted playoff teams, but the Saints do have a good defense, and he's a good defensive line specifically. So he was a 7th-round draft pick, didn't make the roster, but I really liked him coming out of Syracuse. Super athletic. He's 6'4", 257. He can get after the pass rusher, and honestly, he played off-ball linebacker too at Syracuse. So if we want to do what we're doing with Snowden, is have our DN, you know, drop all the time, and he can do it. He's not great at it. I'm not saying he's great at it. I don't even want him to do it. I want these guys to pass rush, and he can definitely do that. His knock was his run defense, but you know what? I'm sure after a year in camp, he's probably learned how to do it. But no harm, no foul, right? Bring him in. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But definitely we're going to need edge rushers next year, because we only have Max, and if we trade him, we don't have anybody on the roster. I mean, none of these guys except for Tyree, but that experiment's over. So we need edge rushers badly. Next one, my third one is Sal Wormley, Jacksonville Jaguars guard. 6'3", 327 out of Penn State. I thought he was fantastic at the Shrine Bowl. I thought he was the best run blocker by far there. In fact, I thought he was the best run blocker outside of maybe Booker at Alabama last year coming out. His tape against Michigan was unbelievable. So he just needed to get a little bit more athletic, and he proved he did. He had a nice combine and everything. So I would go get him. He's strong. We need to run the ball, and we need size. So I would give him a shot. I mean, why not? If he's learned anything in camp about pass blocking, he's a terrific run blocker. I'd go grab him right now and see what we got. The next guy is Jordan Turner. He's an inside linebacker from Denver. He's 6'1", 231 out of Michigan State. He would be our starting linebacker right now. He's easy done. He plays a lot like Devin White, except he's comfortable in coverage. He can drop in coverage. He looks great, and he looked great in the preseason doing it. I think this guy could start for us, no problem. And actually, we can get some coverage, because he can tackle, he can make all the plays, he can get after the quarterback. And like I said, he's much better at coverage, and our coverage obviously has been horrific. So Landon Roberts or Devin White, however you want to look at it, however this defense is going to look next year, I would go get Jordan Turner. The next one, Amar Johnson, running back out of South Dakota State, 5'10", 205. You might not think running back's a need, but I think it'd be kind of nice to get that change of pace back. He's a 4.39 speed guy. He had a great preseason with Green Bay, and Green Bay didn't protect him, and San Diego got him, and they actually brought him up for a game. He got a couple touches, but I mean, if Harbaugh thinks he's a good running back, and then he was behind the Green Bay running backs and Josh Jacobs and all that, I say bring him in as our change of pace back. Mostert, I don't think he's coming back. And then Zamir White, he's gone, and all we were left with was Dylan Lobby. Chris Collier's on the practice squad. I was kind of hoping to see him a little bit more this year, but I'd go get Amar Johnson if he's sitting out there on the practice squad with us, with the Chargers. So go grab him. And then Alijah Huzzie, nickel cornerback from Houston, out of North Carolina, 5'10", 195. Fantastic Shrine Bowl. He didn't play in the game and have to. He was fantastic. He got a little banged up this year. I think that's kind of what's kept him out of the Houston roster, but he's sitting out there on the practice squad. He'd be our starting nickel, no problem. And again, I know all the talk about the size and all that Pete Carroll wants to play with. In Seattle, his nickel was Trey Brown. He's small, so that's out the window. And plus, he drafted Witherspoon, and we don't even know if he's going to be the coach here next year. So Alijah Huzzie, again, we got to stop playing Jeremy Chin in the nickel role. He needs to be a strong safety, and then so this would allow us to do this. So this first few guys would be starters for us next year right now with the way our roster is. And then Brant Banks, offensive tackle he's with Green Bay now. He started with Green Bay. The Titans picked him up, put him on the active roster, and then they tried to put him back on the practice squad, and Green Bay came right back and got him again. He's out at Rice, 6'7", 306, had a fantastic, turned all kinds of heads during the preseason. So I'd give him a shot. You know, we need, if we were to move on from Colton, we don't know about Charles Grant. Yeah, he's looking good in the limited action he's gotten, but I mean, our right tackle experiment in DJ Glaze is over, so we've got to fix that, and maybe he's the guy to do it. I certainly think he could be that guy. Even though I'd like our right tackle to be the bigger guy, he could also be a swing tackle. We're going to need a swing tackle as well, because Forsythe's shouldn't be on this team next year either. The next guy is another offensive tackle, Gerad Christian-Lichenham. He had a nice Shrine Bowl as well. He's with the Ravens right now, and he's out at Oregon State, 6'3", 330. Really good run blocker guy. Again, that's the size right tackle I want to get for us, so we can pave a way for Ashton. But yeah, had a really nice preseason with the Ravens. Just was working on some athleticism and stuff. But I say bring him in and see how athletic he's gotten, see how good he's gotten at pass pro, and maybe we got something there as well. The next guy I got is Jackson Meeks. He's with the Lions. He's out of Syracuse, 6'2", 218, and really good combination guy. He can play. He's more of an X, but I like him more as the Y as well. But basically, he's got a great get off the line. His grit off the line at the Shrine Bowl was fantastic. He had a really solid preseason. He's just behind on the depth chart for the Lions, so he's a guy we could definitely bring in. I know we want to. He just doesn't have the straight line speed, which is fine because we got Jack Besh. And we need a backup for Besh, so this could be that, or he could be an X2. It's not out of the question. The next guy I got is Isaiah Neyor. He was with San Francisco, then went to Green Bay's practice squad. Nebraska guy, 6'4", 219, but fast. The reason I have him on here mainly is because he's kind of the archetype of Dante Thornton, who doesn't maybe seem to be getting it as quickly, but maybe Isaiah has, because Green Bay had a chance to move off of him and keep Malik Heath on their practice squad, and they didn't. They let him go. That kind of tells me maybe Isaiah's starting to pick it up a little bit, but not quite as fast, not quite as big, but everything is there to be an X speed guy down the field, big play option type dude, and that's what this offense is missing, right? We need that big X fast. That's the whole reason why we got Dante Thornton, is open up the field for all these other guys. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out, but if that's the archetype we need or want, I'd say just give Neyor a shot and see what happens. It doesn't cost you anything. The next one would be Trey Washington out of Indianapolis. He's a free safety. He's from Ole Miss, 5'10", 205. We need a free safety. The Pal experiment free safety is over. I'm sorry. Stop doing it. Make him the backup strong safety to Jeremy Chan. And that's a good combination, right? That would be great. That's where he's the best at. But let's get Trey Washington in there and play free safety. He actually was called up for a couple games with the Colts as well. So, and it's a good defense, right? So let's give him a shot. Again, he could possibly be a starter for us down the road. And then my 12th guy is Justin Barron. He's with Dallas. He's out of Syracuse, 6'4", 235. This is a converted safety, so we know how long that takes, right? We've seen the Divine Diablo experiment, and it took a while to get going, but once he figured it out, he could play that middle or a coverage type linebacker guy. I would bring Justin. He had a great preseason. It seems like the Cowboys really like him. I liked him, and the reason he's on my radar is because of the Senior Bowl. He was the best coverage linebacker there. So if you watch the drills, he was super smooth. And coverage, I was watching, and I was like, wow. And then I realized, oh, he's a safety. He's just now converting to linebacker. But, they put some weight on him. They got him up to 235. And he's a big guy. He's like 6'3.5", 6'4". So let's just bring him in, see what he can do. We need linebacker help. We need linebacker specifically that can cover on this team. So let's see what he's got. The next guy, 13, Melvin Smith Jr. out of Kansas City, out of Southern Arkansas, 5'10", 185. I guess you'd say it's not a Pete Carroll type cornerback, but who cares? We don't know if Pete's going to be back or not. Plus, we get to steal somebody from Kansas City. The reason he made my radar is because the Senior Bowl and the drills, I thought he was one of the smooth, if not the smoothest cornerback out there. His only issue to me was his size, right? He just needed to get a little stronger. And now that he's been in an NFL camp, bring him over and see if he's gotten stronger. And I also think he can play nickel too. So I kind of got the feeling with his size that maybe that was kind of the conversion that was going to take place once you got him maybe up to 200, 205, that type of thing. Because he's super smooth, his pedal's really good, and everything else. He's a good athlete. So I would kind of think that might be happening. 14, Keonta Jenkins. He's with the Bills. He's out of Virginia Tech. 6'2", 219, and I kind of liked his tape in his preseason stuff. I watched him in college a little bit, but the main thing I kind of have him on here is because he's sort of the archetype of Jamal Adams, right? He's that converted safety playing the linebacker position at a smaller size, but I think he does it pretty well, and he's very athletic. He can definitely cover, so we'd have somebody to cover tight ends, that type of thing. So I would definitely look at him to bring him over. And obviously the Bills have a strong linebacker core, so he's on way down on their depth chart. So bring him in and see what he can do. And then Keivie Rose out of Jacksonville. He's from Arkansas. Went to Arkansas. He's 6'3", 314. Obviously, we brought in Broderick Martin to be that two-gap type dude, but Broderick's been around a little bit now, and he hasn't stuck. So I'm a little concerned with that. I'd bring Rose in here and see what he's got. It doesn't cost us anything. We have to get bigger. If that Eagles game showed you absolutely nothing else, is our defensive line could not keep up with the Eagles defense. So we are getting pushed back, because all of our D tackles are, you know, Thomas Booker, Butler, Lalu, Hemingway. They're all like that 300-pound range. None of them are two-gap guys. They're all one gap. They're all three techs, right? That's really pass rush guys. None of them are those guys are really run stoppers. And so it's okay to have one of them on the field, but we always have two of them on the field. And on good offensive lines, we just get blown out. And that's what you saw happen over and over again. So I'd give him a shot. And then my last player is Elliott Davison. He's with the Saints. He's out of UTSA, 6 foot 189. I really liked him. He's super athletic, good preseason and all that. But the one thing that I would say is UTSA, they really had him play a lot of strong safety, and which is good. He showed his versatility, but he was in Incarnate Ward for 32 games, played the free safety spot, had 8 interceptions. And so with his athleticism, I would love to see, who knows if the Saints have tried to put him back to his natural position of free safety, but they have. I would bring him in because we definitely need free safety help. Even if he's a backup free safety, special teams guy, whatever, very good athlete. And again, we need a free safety that can get us some interceptions. And so he's a guy, you know, yeah, he showed he could play the strong safety spot, but I put him back in his natural position and just let him go after the ball and track it. So anyways, those are the guys I got. This is my wish list for the next 2 weeks for Spytek to make some moves for our 2026. Again, there's a lot of things that can happen with this team. So many things. It could be a full rebuild, partial rebuild. We've got plenty of money. We got plenty of draft capital. Please, Raiders, don't screw up the #1 pick. You've been terrible all year. Just keep being terrible. You know, the Houston game was an example of a lot of guys out there, you know, obviously wanting to play for next year, to play for their contract. And it's interesting that we haven't re-signed any of our guys. That could be a tell that, you know, the coaching staff isn't coming back, and so you don't want to lock in guys because you don't know who the coaching staff is, or who knows, or maybe these guys are just thinking that they're going to get better contracts. Like, I mean, I would have already probably signed Stokes because he's played well. Thomas Booker to me is a fringe, and Ian Thomas, obviously you can find a third or fourth tight end, but he's a good enough player but you probably wouldn't do that early. But Booker and Stokes. Other than that, I mean, Jamal Adams, maybe. Other than that, I think might as well bring these guys in now and start building the roster, building the culture. Again, you have them all off season to do whatever you got to do. And look how much more attractive that would be for a coach coming in to have a lot more talent than what's going to be there if you just leave the cupboard bare. A lot of young players, not saying there's not, it was a good draft. Like, we're starting to pick it up on the draft. We still need to see Charles Grant. We need to see our young linebacker, Lindenberg, as well. But Tommy Eichenberg's starting to get some run as well. I know that's kind of encouraging. So all these young dudes should, the next 2 games, there shouldn't be any of these other guys out there. Unfortunately, there probably will be. But anyways, there's some guys out there. There's some talent on these practice squads that we should be getting now. I don't know if it's frowned upon. If it is, maybe you won't do it. Maybe you only get a couple of them. Just give me 2 or a present. We'll take 2 of them, and we'll do that. Anyways, everybody have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday. Thanks for joining the show today, and I'll catch you guys next time.